So an interesting parallel I've drawn recently talking about anime Vanguards is the comparison to BTD 6 or Bloons Tower Defense 6.
I want some cheeseburgers just to eat. I'm talking get you, my nigga, my sit on the beat.
And how future mechanics of the game will likely be inspired by BTD. In response to this parallel, Pyseph, one of the main developers for AV, responded saying that Bloons is a huge inspiration and the ultimate goal of the game in terms of content. So for more on that, I'm here with Pyseph himself to ask a series of questions relating to this and other miscellaneous questions I also had. Have you considered adding flying units to the game, for example Monkey Ace or Monkey Heli from Bloons? Yeah, we don't really look or compare ourselves to other anime tower defense games as they either rip off from us or are too lacking in quality or afterthought for us to consider them as inspiration. Bloons is personally one of my favorite games. I've got 300 hours in it, and the same applies to other AV developers as well. It does pose an interesting programming challenge since if the units are constantly moving, you need to make sure that both the client and server positions match up and are synced, or otherwise you'll have issues with the server attacking an enemy, but the client is at some completely different place. All in all, it's not impossible, but we don't have any specific units in mind for now. Will there be future units with extremely long range, possibly even map-wide, similarly to the Sniper Monkey? If we have an anime in which there's a character that has such abilities, I don't see why not. It would just require good balancing and thought. Will we be getting a good unit with slow similar to Crocodile? Yeah, coding wise, there's already several different slow and crowd control effects defined and ready to use for future updates. Just need to code those units in and they'll be out in their relevant updates. Will there be future units that require a specific kind of area to function, similar to the Water Monkey units in BTD? That's an interesting idea. We don't want to add hill or hybrid units because it makes gameplay more boring, but if the water placement units don't have any inherent huge stat boosts over normal units, I don't see why not. Is there a possibility of units with branching upgrades? For example, maybe a Goku with different transformations he could take, like Super Saiyan God Goku for freeze, UI Goku for stun immunity, or Super Saiyan Blue Goku for big damage. We don't have any plans for this as of now. The issue is that we usually have 10 to 15 upgrades for each unit, and adding 2 to 3 new paths would require much more effort. Since the amount of upgrades for one unit would jump from 10 to 30, we've already had issues with getting updates out on time. And so for now, we'd rather prioritize getting updates out within our planned schedules first. If we have time over, we may consider it, but it's a huge change and would require a lot of consideration and planning, so no promises. I then asked about a series of possible tower effects from things ranging from sacrificing other units for buffs, providing revenue by attacking, or transforming other nearby units, and also if we can expect attacks to have more unique sizes and shapes in the future. His response was, again, our biggest priority is staying true to the anime the units are from. If there's some anime character that relies on these abilities, then we will probably add it. We love innovating and adding new gameplay mechanics, but we gotta make sure it's done well. For example, Akaza has a very unique attack hitbox called Stadium, which was specifically added to fit better with his character. We have plans to add more hitbox patterns as well. There are a lot of abilities in BTD 6 that target Blimps, which is a large minion with a huge health pool. Besides the bosses we fight in AV, can we expect an equivalent to Blimps that we need to have specific units to fight off easily? And will there be ever such a thing as an invisible minion, and will we need specific units to fight them? While Bloons is awesome, you have to remember that in Bloons Tower Defense 6, you have access to all towers from round 1. And they're all balanced to roughly be equally as good as every other tower. At heart, we're still a gacha game, and what's more, we only have 6 unit slots you can use. So, we don't want to add more units with hyper-specific uses, as it forces people to use the same units instead of innovating. I think the God Statue boss from the Double Dungeon stage is a good direction to go in as we add more bosses. Will we get structure units that assist nearby units, like the Monkey Village? And will we get structure units that inhibit minions in any sort of way, like a Spike Factory? Definitely something we want to add. Currently the main support unit is Haruka Rin, but she only provides direct stat boosts. It'd be nice if we could have more unique towers that offer things beyond just raw stat increases. Sun Jin Woo and Igris have a great synergy thanks to their passives, which makes them feel true to the anime and the web novel. Adding spike factories, glue gunners, ice monkeys, etc. would all be great to have as well. And you could argue that Alligator is basically a glue gunner and Julius is an ice monkey. Do you think we'll ever get an incredibly powerful unit with insane drawbacks like a Saitama, but he can only punch every minute or so, or anything of that nature? Maybe, but we'd have to be very, very careful in balancing such a unit, because our players can get very creative. For example, Gojo's original passive gave him a huge stat boost each time he got stunned, which should only happen rarely, but people found out that picking the Quake card in Paragon mode worked as well, and so within like 3 minutes they'd have an ungodly powerful Gojo just obliterating the whole stage. What's the best and worst parts of being a Roblox developer? Roblox makes it very easy to develop the games you want. Other game engines have a much steeper learning curve, and usually the only indie games that end up coming out are much smaller in scope and are single player. With Roblox, we don't have to pay fees for databases, websites, server hosting, etc. It's all free. That's why Roblox takes a seemingly absurd 70% cut, and if you don't know much about the platform, you might consider that as a scam. Do you think Roblox exploits its game creators? No, but its developer community does. Scammers, pedophiles, and just overall scummy people are depressingly common. I'd imagine this is because some people attain small success, which gets into their head and gives them a superiority complex over others. Plus, an overwhelming majority of developers are under 18, with Yuru, a AV developer, only turning 18 a few weeks ago, and another AV developer, Kobo, who's still a minor. So, the developers you commission for your game are usually kids who are still in school. I myself have gained multitudes of mental illnesses that haunt me to this day, because from 13 years of age, I'd get home from school at 5 p.m., work until 3 to 4 a.m., and wake up at 7 a.m. to go to school. I did this every single day without any breaks for years. I am now a workaholic, have no interest in any games, and have painful issues that I have to live with. Back when Killick tried accusing me of pedophilia, I remember trying to make tea after being unable to fall asleep for 25 hours and ended up just falling on the kitchen floor and laying there crying for a solid 15 minutes. Being a successful developer is something I'm immensely grateful for, and I understand that I'm way better off than most people, even 10, 20 years older than me, but it's not something most people survive. I only recommend entering Roblox development if you have an incredible, unyielding passion for your craft. You may go 3, 5, 10 years without seeing any light at the end of the tunnel before getting success. I've been programming for almost 10 years now, and this is my first Roblox game that I've ever successfully released. Are there plans to add an unlimited source of trait rerolls, or are they intentionally limited? Very intentionally, yes. It's basic economics, really. You can't just hand out $1 million to everyone, or that would ruin the value of money and inflate the currency. Game economics are a real field of study, and it's a fascinating thing to read up on. And then my final question was, will every unit eventually have a shiny version? No. Shinies are rare for a reason. For example, Blossom never had a shiny. That is just a coding bug that makes her look that way. So from these questions, we've learned quite a lot about anime Vanguard's development and the direction the game is going in. All the characters being added are very much true to the series they originate from, and balancing and innovation is at the head of development concerns throughout the creation of future updates. I'd like to thank Pyseph for contributing to this video. Couldn't have made it without him. His answers were remarkably in-depth. I couldn't have asked for a better interview, and I, for one, have respect for what he does. I respect the grind, basically. With all that proper, glazing out of the way, it seems like the game's going in a pretty great direction as of now, and I'm definitely personally excited for all of these upcoming updates. That's all I've got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good one.
You smell like you farted.